Hi there, Cy Williams, Hi Canada Magazine. I am doing my last big interview of the Lift Expo Toronto 2023. Now, we can't leave this expo before we talk to this man. And now, this is Tony Lawand. He is the godfather of CBD in Canada, and lately he has been bringing the crypto and cannabis world together in ways that I cannot even begin to yet understand, but Tony's going to help explain. It is the elephant in the room at the last couple conferences that I've attended, and I'm really anxious to catch up with Tony and find out exactly what all the buzz is about. Tony, once again, thank you for talking to us.
Thanks,
I really
brother.
appreciate it. So bring me up to speed. There's so much going on in the crypto universe. There's this meta stuff and
Metaverse,
AI.
NeoBanking, you name it, we've got it. So let's start with how does it affect the cannabis world? Okay. So it's going to affect the rest of the world. Trust me when I'm telling you, you're going to hear it. I'm telling you right now, your world is not going to be the same in a few years from now. The internet, the blockchain world, the crypto itself world, the banking world, it's all going to change. And you being in media, it's a big thing.
Absolutely.
Because, content, there are some technologies coming out that your content is going to switch from the Web 2 media to the Web 3 blockchain world. Now, what is that going to mean for you? Well, it's going to mean a lot of things. It's going to mean your content that you create is going to be owned by you. Nobody can steal your face or your voice or your content and put it on, and share it without you it coming back to you.
Which is a very big factor for content creators like myself. There are so many of us out there producing content. Getting monetization is always the goal. It's so hard to keep on top of that kind of thing. And it's a challenge when you're a content creator and not being able to monetize properly.
Of course. Now let's talk about the cannabis side of things because that's what we're here for.
Okay, yes, absolutely.
So how does it tie in with cannabis? Okay, so let's talk about potential cultivation optimization. There are AI systems that can, we see the guys here that have these data systems, and you push buttons and it's seed to sale, it all tracks. But how about if you could track every part of it, and if B can't happen unless A is done properly. C can't happen until B gets done. So in the tracking, the complete system, whether it's financially or for the OCS or one of the other government regulatory issues, or the owners tracking specific grow houses, it's going to change the whole thing. Because again, there's not going to be any fiddling around. There's not going to be, things can't just disappear. Okay. You can't change it. It's a smart contract. Think about it just as this, it's a smart contract. So what you put together today in writing, well, a guy can go in the computer and change that. On the blockchain, it cannot. Oh. Everything is in there, and once you put it in there, it cannot be changed.
Oh, so it's like writing with permanent marker.
It's it. It ain't coming off. Okay. It's not coming off. So let's talk strain analysis is a good example.
Okay, yeah, excellent.
Okay, strain analysis or what if you could have your strains that nobody else could copy anymore? It's almost like a patent. They're registered to you. They're yours. Whatever you create, it basically comes down to this is decentralizing the system, your system, decentralizing it. Now, the big boys, the big social media companies, the banks, and so forth, governments and everything, they're going to be weary of this because now the control is coming into your hands.
Oh, I can see how the banks would be leery of that.
It's unsolvable. Well, they're getting on board because all they're doing is they're pivoting. Okay, but we can talk about quality control. How it works, and algorithms that set all that stuff up. You're not going to have the human. You're not going to have the human error. You've got a transparent supply chain. You've got payment solutions, security and privacy.
The payment solutions is something that's really going to interest the cannabis community.
Okay, so think about this now. NeoBanking is not advanced to the cannabis industry yet, but is going to be there because as I think once USA legalization happens, the federal across the board is going to be a lot easier.
So that's NeoBanking.
NeoBanking is a terminology like virtual banking. So let's think about you as you have a company, you have 100 members, you have a bunch of vendors. Right now, the major banks, they don't want your business. Let's face it. They open you up in a couple weeks or a couple months or a couple years. They shut you down. You got to go scramble for another one.
Yeah.
And you don't get into the tier 1 banks. What if you could have a non-brick and mortar store bank? You create the account. You can issue with the blessings of MasterCard and Visa. You can pay vendors, move monies. It's instant.
Yeah.
It costs you a hell of a lot cheaper. Okay? You can, it streamlines everything, and the chance of hacking or theft or fraud is a fraction of a difference. It's incredible.
Okay, that does seem very disruptive, and I like that.
Yeah. It's disruptive, by the way, but it's safer and more secure.
But disruptive in the very, we need disruptive tech. We need disruptive individuals.
Yeah.
We need to shake things up.
And then, but by the way, this is happening, and the cannabis guys have always been the type. Well, we stay in our little lane, and we don't make any waves. We don't want to get involved in that lane or that lane. But the crypto, blockchain, Web3, Fintech, whatever you want to call it, because there's a lot of terminologies that still encompass that Web3
development. I thought the can industry had acronyms, but holy cow.
No, they got, you could have the neobanking with payment solutions. That's a big problem. How do you take money? You're dealing with cash. How do you take a credit card, a debit card? How do you take, interbank transfers, things like that? Neobanking will solve all that issue. So right now, neobanking is set up for general organizations,
okay.
And the cannabis groups are going to be not far behind once legalization happens.
So listen to our wonderful listeners. This is how important I feel this information is. It's the end of Lyft. They are literally tearing up around us. We are in a glass bubble that is about to be torn down, and it's much like the current state of the industry with all the new things that are coming down the line from the Metaverse.
Hey, listen, the Metaverse,
AI.
by the way, the Metaverse right now can be used with the cannabis industry.
Okay.
We don't have to wait for that. So I can create, what would you think of, let's say your dispensary. So you're a dispensary owner. We create this beautiful little Metaverse room that your clients can go in there and they can 3D and they can go see all your products and walk into your store before they've ever walked in the store.
And then order ahead of time.
They can order ahead of time, or they can get the questions. They can pick up your pamphlets or your books or your explanations about everything without ever leaving their house.
I wonder if you would be allowed, if they're working in like personal avatars, because let me tell you,
absolutely,
I would make my personal avatar Chewbacca, and I'd be doing all my banking as Chewbacca.
You can do Chewbacca, you can do Biden, you could do Trudeau, whatever the hell you want to do. It can be all there. We know that, but I tell you what, with the Metaverse, you can communicate with your clients. How about they can ask questions, and maybe they'll ask questions that they'd be afraid to do in person. And we all know that people during COVID, they were, on the phones, conference calls, and they got kind of out of their shells a little bit. Some people created a shell, but the Metaverse world can create all that. Your High Canada magazine, they can go in there and they can just 3D. They can look at all your past issues and grab instead of digging through. And that stuff is yours, by the way. Nobody can copy, and any content that's copied is now copyright infringement, but it's through the blockchain.
See, a lot of protection for creators. Yeah. Okay, for more information on what Tony has going on, make sure you follow us at High Canada Magazine. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe, Tony. Where can they find more information on what you have going on?
Listen, One World Ventures, which is a publicly traded company, is on the forefront of all this. I work in the media arm, the interface media, or One World Media. You can look us up, and we've got a lot of information. We can educate you. We've already put information about AI for newbies, crypto for dummies. You name it, we've got it all on there. It doesn't cost you anything. You can go through it. You learn about the Metaverse. You learn about AI. You learn about crypto. We'll take you along, and if there's anybody that has any more questions, I'm easy to find. I'm all over the place.
We'll do is we'll put the link in the bio. I'm afraid that's all the time we have right now. Tony, thank you so much, man. It's always a pleasure.
My brother.
You always keep me up to date on everything that's current in the cannabis industry, especially when it comes to crypto and back in the day with CBD.
Listen, I miss you out here in Toronto, and we're on the East Coast, West Coast, but this is the #1 guy to take you into the future in the cannabis world. I promise you that. He's on the forefront for sure.
Well, thank you very much. Always a pleasure catching up. Stay tuned for more on
everybody.
everything cannabis in Canada. That's it for me right now. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Peace.
Thanks, everybody.
Notes is brought to you by High Canada Magazine.